Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the Revoltech Amazing Yamaguchi Agent Venom. This is a reissue, not a 2.0 or 2.5 or anything like that. It is just the same figure, without any changes other than production variants, things like that. Like they might have adjusted some tolerances, that kind of thing. I don't know, I never got the original one, but you guys have been begging me, almost literally begging me to review this thing since it came out, telling me it is one of the best Revoltech figures ever. And I was planning on getting it as soon as they announced the reissue. I just didn't get it the first time because I can't buy everything. But, you know, it's been said before that I like to just poop on things that are popular because it gets me hate clicks. Well, one, that's not true. It doesn't work. Maybe for like politics or something that works, but not for action figure reviews. That's not a good strategy. But also, it's just not true. It just happens to be that sometimes people like to say things are popular and it turns out they're not good figures, and it's my job to say they're not. Will that be the case with this one? I don't think so, but we'll see. I'm going to review it like I would anything else, despite how incredibly popular this figure is. So let's go ahead and get him off the stand and take a closer look. Now, before we start the figure review, I do want to show you my package, and as usual, it is a decent size, but relatively underwhelming in terms of the way it looks. The photo on the side is nice. The big gray thing, I know some people like the modern, contemporary type of look, minimalist. I prefer the fun stuff, but I don't care really about packages personally because I don't ever use them for anything other than storage. So there's some photos on the side. It's hard to see what's going on, but they look cool. And then on the back, Revoltech usually does a pretty good job of showing things, and they've done that here. He does come with 4 pistols, by the way, and his symbiote hands can hold them, but where does he keep the pistols? That's what I want to know. The extra 2 pistols. But yeah, it's a good package if you don't mind the simplistic look. Alright, so let's set that aside. Boy, do I need to clean my office. I have no room over here at all. Alright, now, he is in stock at Big Bad Toy Store. I'll put a link in the description below if you want to get one. You can use my link and that will help me out, and you'll be able to get one. He stands just a little bit above 16 centimeters, a few millimeters over that, like maybe 16.2, depending on how you have him posed. They do tend to hunch, though, these figures. So let's see. That's probably about as straight as you're going to get him. And we'll call it, let's do it again, 16, I'll say 16.3, that seems about fair. And that's going to be about, well, just shy of 6.5, so like 6 3/8 inches. Here he is up against the Marvel Legends Darwin. Should he be taller than Darwin? I don't know. I don't know much about Agent Venom. We'll talk about that in a second. I'm guessing he's supposed to be taller than your average Marvel Legends figure, but you could definitely fudge it in there. Now let's do a question of the day. What's the deal with Agent Venom? Is he a super popular character, or is it just that he's Venom with guns and armor, so it's cool? Like, just the character design is cool, or is the character itself cool? I don't know that much about it. I believe the story is it Eddie Brock? No, it's the blonde guy. Well, they're both blonde. Is it Jameson? Somebody ends up in a wheelchair with no legs and he turns into this. It's not Eddie Brock, it's Jameson, right? And so, how does he end up with guns? Where's the guns thing come from? I always thought that Agent Venom looked like it was originally meant to be a Punisher thing, and then they turned it into something else. But maybe you guys can enlighten me a little bit more. How does he end up with as like guns and tactical gear and stuff? Anyway, cool design. So, let's talk about it. Aesthetically speaking, it looks really good for a Revoltech. They tend to, or at least they used to be, pretty crap at production quality, at quality control and paint jobs and things like that. This one's not bad at all. This slightly bluish grayish darker color, it's not black, the main colors, not the armor, really nice. It's a nice matte finish, and it's definitely not just black. There's a little bit to it. And you do have the black parts in there that are more of like a, I don't really want to say semi-gloss, but it's a little bit shinier. You see some on the arms there too, and then more of the blue. I'm going to say blue, but it's almost black. But either way, you get the idea. It's I don't know if it's the same color as this. It might just be like a really, really dark gray that has like, it's a cool gray. But either way, this is the sign for a cool gray, by the way. It looks nice. The matte blackish, bluish, grayish color is really nice. The satiny / semi-gloss is really nice. Then you have the more glossy, which is truer to a semi-gloss armor. All very nicely done. We have the buckles painted on the web gear, and then the pearly spider logo is very nicely done. It's a really clean looking figure. The eyes and the face, not bad at all. Especially for Revoltech, they tend to be a little sloppy. They've been getting a lot better, to be clear. That's more of a thing of the past, but it's still a thing sometimes. But this one's not it. This one's pretty darn nice. It looks good. He does have that hunchiness. Let me pan back. He does have that hunchiness, and that's fine. That's what they do. It's not super hunchy, but they do have the longer limbs, kind of sometimes a long torso and shorter legs, but like they have their own look. Hold on a second. Let me grab this. Here's another example. Maybe it's a little bit easier. You don't have to have him like that. That's just the way he was when he was on the box. But yeah, they do tend to have sort of a hunch and a squatty look to them, because they're not really made for neutral posing, and that's fine. Like, whatever you want to do, it's your company. Do what you want. A lot of people don't like that. Some people do. Some people are indifferent. The thing is that they can pose really well. But the good thing about this one is it looks really nice too. I'll show you the posability at the end of the review. But it does look really nice. It's really, really well done. A lot of the issues some figures have in this line are hidden, like with the knee pads and the shoulder pads. So aesthetically, it is one of their better figures for sure, despite being mostly black. So I will go, I don't know, 9 out of 10. Like, you could do better, I guess. You could add some shading and some tinier details, but it's still, what's here is nice. Now, as far as accessories go, that's kind of where this figure shines. I'll start with, he has alternate eye plates. So there's a total of 3 sets of extra plates, so 4 sets total. That's really nice. You can just swap out the eyes to change the look. I like the green ones a whole bunch. Like I said, I don't know anything about the character, but they look cool, so that's nice. For hands, you get a whole tree of hands. That's good. All the things you would need. And you get extra hands for his tentacles, so that's pretty cool. So you do get 4 tentacles, and they're pretty big and long and veiny and nice, and they have some ball joints, ball hinges on them throughout, and you can do some things with them. But other accessories include, he comes with a total of 4 holsters. Now 2 of them are the ones you're going to want to have on him probably all the time. You get 2 more that don't really go anywhere, but you could put them on his belt because you can interchange the pouches. Speaking of which, you get 2 extra longer pouches. So yeah, you can play around with the pouches and holsters a little bit. There's not really that much customizability there, but it's there. You get 4 of the pistols, and then you get 4 of the pistol grips that go into the holsters to make it look like they're holstered, so that's cool. You get 1 alternate hand, which is just the big blade, which is freaking cool. I didn't know that was a thing. I mean, like, technically I did because it's Venom, but still cool. You get 2 web shots, which are really nicely done, and these are the kind that just go in his hands. Does he have any other hands for that? Yeah, he does. So he has 2 of the fist hands with the holes on them for shooting the web, but he can also just grab onto it with the holes in his hands, which match the holes in Deadpool's hands that made no sense, so you could share his webs. You do get a grenade launcher, which is, it's just all black like the pistols, but it's good enough. And then you get 4 blast effects, which are just like muzzle flashes, but I love the paint job on these. The saturation in the yellow and orange and the slightly opaque nature. Those are freaking cool. They look great. Those are going to look wonderful on a shelf. I like those a whole bunch. And then lastly, you get a display stand, which at this point, it's only like Bandai who doesn't do display stands with all their figures, and it's getting annoying. I love that these guys come with their own display stands. So as far as accessories go, 10? I think 10 is fair, probably. Like I said, I don't know much about the character, but that seems like a lot. Seems like enough. You guys can let me know if there's anything he should have had in addition. But I'm going to go with 10 for the accessories. Alright, let's talk about the posability, because that's the whole thing for Revoltech. If it can't pose, it's probably too goofy looking to be justifiable. But this guy's hidden, so let's see. His joints are hidden. Let's see if he can look good. Let me make it a little bit brighter for this. So the neck, he can't look up as high as most other figures that they have because of his neck armor, but it still looks good. And the neck armor does move around with the head, so that's going to be helpful for posing. You do get a bunch of ball pegs and posability there between the neck and the head, so that'll be fine. Now, you do get to the shoulder piece that rotates. It's not as good as some. They do it in different spots, which is fine. Like, design-wise, it's good because it's hidden here by the web gear perfectly, so that's fine. But the way it rotates, it's not as useful. Like, you can still get the arm around to do it, but it's not the best-looking one. It's not the best, whatever joint this is, whatever you want to call that. It's a little bit awkward. It's okay. For the shoulder itself, now here's the thing that bugs me, because I thought these shoulder pads were really going to let him go to town and get this shoulder moving, and the shoulder itself works just like all the other ones, if not maybe a little bit less. There's a little bit less play in this actual joint, which is already ugly. That's a normal Revoltech thing. There's a little bit less range in this one than we often see, and that's unfortunate. It's still going to work like a Revoltech for the most part, but not as well. It's not as well implemented as some of the other ones, so that's a little bit irritating. And then the thing that's even more irritating about this is the shoulder pad just has a little fixed nub and ball. So it doesn't get out of the way really enough. I think that should definitely be at least a double ball, if not a couple of ball hinges, to get that shoulder pad really out of the way and then make the shoulder work better. So the whole thing should just be, because of the armor, it should be way more usable. And instead it's actually it's not quite as good as some of the other ones, so that's a bit of a bummer. You do get your bicep swivel in there, which also can get irritating with the shoulder pad, but it works. The single jointed ball hinge elbow that we usually see the huge gapping in, we still have that, but we don't have as much range as we normally get. It's just a little bit better than 90. Normally you can really bend that elbow, or you can do this and have less of a gap, and it's usually a big difference, but in this case it's not that big of a difference, so you can just get rid of the gap and only lose a couple of degrees of range. So yeah, it could be better. Now I know this isn't one of the newer figures. The reissue obviously is new-ish, but the figure came out a while ago, so I can give them some slack. The other issue here with the arms is the ball hinges are super tiny, and there's no need for that. They just, because they're tiny, they ruin the range. Like, it still has decent range, but a bigger ball hinge would be easier to pose, and it would look better, so that could be better. Now for the torso, same kind of situation as we've seen on a lot of them. It can get gappy, but you do get pretty good, darn good range out of it. It does look like, I don't think there's a hinge in there. There could be. But balls, they switched to balls for most everything relatively recently, and it does work much better. So as you can see, he can bend over really far. Leaning back on this guy is pretty good too, but does get gappy, like I said. Side to side, it works really well at the top, but this bottom joint doesn't work as well as you probably would expect. That's as far as it can lean back. So it doesn't really lean back too far. Leaning forward is good though, for sure, so that's nice. And then side to side, on that bottom joint, it's almost non-existent. So yeah, it's not the best in terms of range there either. The belt is as annoying as some people say it is. I don't mind the loose belts because they just get out of the way for poseability, and otherwise you can push them back. But yeah, that's the way they normally do it, little ball hinge on there. Now for the hips, they did the same thing as always, where you have that weird offset swivel on the angled ball peg, and it's just a pain in the ass to pose the hips. That apparently is not something they're ever going to change. Can you get them into the right poses most of the time? Yes. Is it super irritating to handle most of the time? Yes. That's just a thing Revoltech does. This angled swivel in the thigh is so silly. You just don't need to do that. They don't actually give themselves any better range by doing it, so it's really weird. His is not as irritating as Deadpool or some other ones though, so that's okay. It does function, but it will be at weird angles and you're gonna have to finagle it and do things. So crazy poses for sure, less crazy poses probably not gonna look as good. Now for the knee, you get the single jointed knee, which is pretty well hidden by the knee pad. On the inside, on the outside, it's not as good looking. Just like Deadpool, there's kind of a lot of gapping going on and it doesn't need to be there. They've done better, but it's still functional. Mine's not loose. I've seen people talk about the loose knees on this guy. I don't know if it's the original or they just got bad ones, but I don't have loose knees. They could be tighter, but they're not falling apart like Ryu Hayabusa, and they're not floppy or anything. You do get, I think it's, these used to be ball pegs. Now sometimes they're hinges with a swivel. It looks like a hinge and a swivel, but you do get that shin joint, whatever it is. Then you get a ball hinge down here at the ankle, which should be able to shimmy, but the armor's in the way. So it doesn't really do as much as they typically do, but you can get the foot back. And you can go forward, but not really that far, so it's not the best ankle. You get a good ankle rocker out of it. And then the toe hinge is acceptable. It's not a particularly good one, but it's not particularly bad. It's mostly flush, and it's a little far back on the foot, but it has a little bit of stiffness to it, so it'll probably work. So yeah, he's not the best poser for sure. Like, he's a good one, and he looks good, but anybody who is saying he's like the best Revoltech ever, I don't know, he's a good one. But he doesn't have the best range. Like, Spider-Man's way better. Even Deadpool, I think, is probably better than posing than this guy. But it's not bad. So I'll give his articulation for a Revoltech. It's like a 7. It's like average for Revoltech. There's nothing special about this guy. Yeah, it doesn't stand out at all. His for Revoltech, for like any other line, it's like tons better. but it does look better compared to most Revoltech, so I'll give him that. All right, and okay, so time for the final verdict. For Revoltech, it's a really good-looking one. It has tons of accessories, and it poses well enough. Like, it poses well, for sure, just nothing special. So I'm going to give this guy, I'm going to go overall 9 out of 10. Really, really good release. it's not as special as some people make it out to be, unless they're just leaning into that he looks good and has good accessories, and then sure. But his posability will just be average for a Revoltech collector. You're not going to be in awe of this guy at all. So there it is. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, but I'm done. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, you should. I have new videos just about every single day and thousands already on the channel. So make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.